Susan, do you take Jerry to be your husband? Do you promise to love, honor, cherish, and protect him, forsaking all others, holding only to him forevermore?
I do.
Jerry, do you take Susan to be your wife? Do you promise to love, honor, cherish, and protect her, forsaking all others, holding only to her forevermore?
I do.
Marriage is a formally recognized union of two people. Other people define marriage as an act, weddings, festivals, and all that stuff. It's the second definition that gets naive couples, well, screwed. Being that oftentimes this institution does not work. Our society has done a great job in making us believe that a wedding day is the best day of our lives. This has led to some couples taking huge debt to finance that one-day event. Well, happiness is not a destination, and if you are not happy now, it's most likely that you'll be unhappy again after that surge of dopamine you get on your wedding day gets exhausted. While this seems like not big of an issue, some couples will get divorced before paying off their wedding debt. And this results in exacerbated financial problems for the formerly married couple. But it hasn't always been this way. The first recorded marriage dates back 2,500 years ago, where the groom paid 6 cows to get a 14-year-old bride. What a lucrative deal that was. In ancient times, marriage was used as a way of tying women to men. This would ensure that a man's children are his true heirs.
My lady, I want you to know, I didn't ask for this.
Marriage was also used as a tool to foster an alliance between rival kingdoms. This would simply mean that the descendants of the leaders of the two former rival kingdoms would be related. Quite smart, weren't they? In the Middle Ages, men were allowed to have as many partners as they pleased. In ancient Rome and Greece, men were allowed to have concubines. Women, on the other hand, were required to stay at home and resort to household chores. This meant that men became more powerful and wealthier than women as they had more freedom than women, and consequently, women became more dependent on men. But today's world is different, and the choice of a partner is almost entirely based on who they want to spend the rest of their life with. Today, women have become more financially independent due to several events that the world has witnessed, such events as the First and Second World Wars. Events that have seen women get more freedom than they had in the Middle Ages and the periods before that. This means that fewer and fewer women now need the financial support of men. Today's society has become advanced. We no longer need to form alliances through marriage to protect our kingdoms. In the case of paternity, you can simply take a paternity test to know whether the children are truly yours. Here are some daunting statistics. In the US, there is a divorce in every 30 seconds. There is more than 1 million couples getting divorced in every single year. Well, despite all that, the wedding industry seems to be doing great, with 115,000 weddings recorded each and every day worldwide. The marriage industry is currently worth a staggering $96 billion, even though we're seeing less and less marriage contracts being signed. There's a lot of companies capitalizing on the manipulable nature of people. Engagement rings were not a thing before the 1940s. Then the De Beers Diamond Company launched an advertising campaign. In the campaign, they said that the only way a real man can express their love is by buying a ring with a piece of crystallized carbon on it. Before the 1940s, only 10% of women received diamond rings on their wedding day, and today, almost 80% have it. After almost a century of advertising, diamond rings have become part of our social script, and it's safe to say that diamond rings are here to stay. The average cost of a wedding is $30,000 US, which may vary depending on the part of the world that you live. But the idea is the same. These events are overly charged.
In the beginning, weddings were about a celebration of family, bringing people together, having food, having dance. Now it's about who has the bigger budget. It means dollar signs because you are going to pay. You're going to pay for that one special day.
Companies and sales personnel capitalize on what's called asymmetric information. For every transaction that you make, everything that you purchase, you have a rough idea of how much that specific product or service must cost. But for things that we don't use in our day-to-day lives, we don't have any idea. Things like the wedding rings, the wedding venues, the wedding entertainment. So what does that mean? This means that we get easily overcharged and not realize it. The other thing that makes it easy for wedding planners to overcharge you is the use of such words as
once in a lifetime, dream, missed opportunities. You don't want to regret not having this.
When you hear such catchy phrases, you're more than willing to spend top dollar for that once in a lifetime event, that happiest day of your life.
It starts to create fear. Fear of losing out, fear of not being the best, and fear of disappointing others.
So if you have watched this video up to this point, it's probably that you like this type of content. Why don't you hit the like button and the subscribe button, and also don't forget to click the notification bell so that you won't miss any video that I post. And with that being said, let's head back into it. In this vast industry, money is collected from both ends during marriage itself and divorce. More money flows through divorce courts than the rest of the courts combined. Chances of your marriage ending in divorce are 20% in the first 5 years, 35% in the first 10 years, and after 20 years, it's 50%. Divorce gets even ugly when you're a wealthy individual. You will need to spend top dollar to get lawyers to defend you if your marriage comes to an end. And all this is because when most couples get married, they don't sign a prenup. This is a premarital contract signed by a couple that determines what legal rights one acquires upon marrying. This might also include how much wealth is in their control, so that if the union comes to an end, you don't lose your hard-earned wealth.
I said, do you love her? He said, yes. And I said, do you trust her? Well, he said, let's just say there will be a prenup.
It's the one thing that makes you feel absolutely sure that you're being married for love.
We may look at this as a good thing, but as always, there's a flip side of the coin. The signing of a prenup itself requires money. You're going to pay legal advisors for that. The other rather subtle problem with the premarital agreement is that it kind of shows that you don't trust your partner, and that might increase the chances of a union coming to an end.
You kind of almost inject into your marriage a kind of death wish.
So you have all the lawyers come in already before you've even started the relationship, dividing out who would have what.
With all that being said, there are several stories of people who became millionaires by divorcing affluent individuals. All that you have to do to have millions overnight is to marry a rich man, divorce him, and take his money. That's what some of the women in our society think. They look for rich men, lure them to sign a marriage contract, and boom, they are gone. It's important to know that some young men can be this cruel, but this kind of behavior is predominantly exhibited by women. Let's face it, whether we like it or not, money does make life easy, but it comes with its own problems. Most rich men and women are skeptical when it comes to getting married, so some of them will opt for sugar babies and younger men respectively. Here's how it works. Younger and ambitious women in need for financial support will trade their attention and sex for the money that they are desperately in need of. Sugar daddies will be rendering gifts and financial support to them, as I said earlier. It's almost the same with sugar mummies. Younger and ambitious men will exchange attention and sex for financial support, all in the quest to protect their wealth.
A lot of the guys will offer luxury gifts, so perfume or designer handbags, could be shopping trips, help with your rent as well. The nicest gift I received has to be this Cartier diamond ring.
The form of financial assistance usually comes in a monthly allowance, and the average monthly allowance is about £3,000.
So what do these affluent individuals do if they want real and compassionate love? Because when you have made millions or even billions of dollars, it's difficult to tell who is real and who isn't, hence looking for short-term pleasure.
Sometimes I'm wondering if the men that I'm dating are more interested in, what I'm worth, or some of the contacts that I may have. There's always that wonder if they're interested in you for the right reasons.
Most rich people don't have the time to invest in looking for love due to the busy nature of their schedule.
I haven't got the time or the emotional capacity to invest in a full-time conventional sort of relationship.
But there's an answer to that. That's where matchmaking consultancies come into play. There are several people in the business of finding matches for rich men and women. Matchmakers can charge hundreds of thousands of dollars for their services, and the rich are more than willing to pay for that.
The membership fees range from approximately $15,000 up to $300,000.
Even though women make 10% of the super rich, they make about 80% of those applying for matchmaking. This makes the odds of finding a super rich partner favor women. This video is just a presentation of information for educational purposes. I'm not by any means trying to tell you what to do or what not to do.